This is my review of the Osborne EB-3 Mitre gauge. Included among the many features of this mitre gauge is its removable handle. If you have a small space in which to store it, it's very convenient that you could remove the handle and have a lower profile. You also have adjustment points to where you can remove the slot in your mitre gauge. As you can see here, I'm rocking it back and forth and moving it back and forth. It still moves smoothly while taking up all the slot in the mitre slot. Here you can see me making an adjustment which allows me to move the fence closer to the blade or further away. In my case, I like to bring it as close as possible without cutting into it to support the workpiece. It has the ability to adjust in the range of plus or minus 45 degrees, and it has indents underneath, and a push button allow you to lock in certain degrees like 45, 22 and a half, all the popular angles, and of course 90 degrees. Once you have it where you want it, you lock it down and it is held in that position. From this angle, I'm showing the flip stop. The knob on the top is not the original knob. I think at some point I'm going to change it, although I like it. It has a very soft feel to it, but I like the kind where it's spring loaded so you can adjust it out of the way, especially for taller stock. Here, this is another one of the adjustment knobs in the back, which allows you to extend the capacity. With it fully extended, I can get about 37 inches, so a little over 37 inches without running into the side of my countertop. This is where you can adjust the tool to compensate for squareness. You can dial in the squareness of it. It came with instruction that shows you how to achieve that. There's a little cheat sheet in the back of the Mitre gauge that lets you know based on the amount of sides of your project what angle you need to set it to. I'm about to rip some boards to demonstrate the use of the Mitre gauge. So here you can see a quick look of my DRO for my table saw rip fence. I'm going to rip these boards to 3 1/16 of an inch. Why? Just because I can. Always keeping safety in mind. I'm using my clear cut stock guides, and I'm also using a shroud. In this case, my shroud or guard is also used for dust collection. And guys, always remember this. The only way you can get cut by a table saw blade is to come in contact with a table saw blade. So y'all know how I feel about that. If you use a guard, you'll never come in contact with a table saw blade. And also use herring, dust, and eye protection. The remote I just showed was for my dust collector. Once again, you got to protect those lungs. Here we go. Push stick. Once again, the only way you can get cut, you have to first come in contact with the blade. So the idea is never come in contact with the blade. It's literally that simple, guys. Okay, here we go now. So the first thing you want to do is cut one end square. And this Mitre gauge does an excellent job of it. Once again, if it's not dialed in out of the box, you can dial it in by making test cuts and making adjustments. It provides excellent information in the manual that shows you how to do that. And as usual, dead on. Now after I establish square ends, I can use the stop to make repeat cuts of the same length. Very important, consistency in a project. If everything is the same length in a multiple part situation, you're always going to end up having very good results. So same length, square. These are big deal. You have to have the right, tool to accomplish that. All of these are the same length. It doesn't make a difference what the length is. Consistency is what really matters. Now I'm going to demonstrate cutting miters. In this case, it's going to be 45 degree. And as I told you, it can bevel 45 in either direction. That's the full range, plus or minus 45 degrees. So you can cut both sides. When you're ready to cut the other side, you make the adjustment, swing it all the way around to 45, press the button underneath, spring-loaded button underneath to make sure it's fully seated in the, I want to call it indentation that's underneath, and you lock it down. Once again, you could adjust the fence and make sure you don't cut through your fence, and you have full support all the way to the blade. Then lock that back down. Typically speaking, the miter gauge that comes with your table saw is usually very inferior. It's usually not very accurate. It usually has a lot of slop. So I always recommend you get an aftermarket miter gauge. And this one has been a very good one. Here's an example of me cutting a 4-sided project, I guess I'll call this, dude. You can see the type of cuts you can expect. And if you're not happy with that, you can actually make adjustments. Thank you for watching and have a good day. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to be notified when new content is dropped on this channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and drop a comment down below.